What do you feel when you fail? Probably all the same things I feel. A reduced sense of self-worth, a feeling that you're not progressing as you believed you were, and a deep, somewhat stinging disappointment in your gut. How do you deal with these feelings? It's not easy to get back up after a grand fall, when your bones and your body ache, when your heart seems to have quadrupled in weight and is pulling you down. Today I spoke with Janina, a Finnish woman living in Denmark. She had worked in the hotel branch for 13 years but had to accept the reality of getting fired during the pandemic. Janina, probably like many others, was sent home permanently. The aftermath of emotions flooded her system, causing her to feel confused and used and unfairly dismissed. She asked herself, why? Why me? I've spent all these years dedicating myself to this industry. I was good at it. I enjoyed it. Now what? I'd be asking myself the same things. Even as a teenager, getting fired for smoking pot on my break at work, I felt a nasty twinge in my being, and frankly, I still feel it from time to time. What made it worse was that my sister worked in the same shop, so I couldn't exactly come up with an excuse to tell my family. I couldn't hide from it, but looking back, that was a good thing. I implore you to face your failures. I was, quite rightly and fairly, dismissed. But that doesn't change anything. I still felt the same things as Janina. I'm sure of that. Confusion, self-pity, shame, regret. You could say my dismissal was justified, but it didn't solve the emotional, spiritual, and psychological issues I was going through. In this instance, I quickly moved on with my life and accepted defeat. I accepted myself as the cause for the failure, but the underlying issues weren't ever considered until many years later, and I'm still coming to terms with my previous addiction. Despite feeling characterized by failure, I continued with my life. I don't remember what I did next. The important thing is, I continued. When seemingly larger tragedies have happened in my life, I've had a tendency to hit rock bottom, to sink to the deepest depths of emotion with no will nor desire to flounder to the surface. I failed in love and pushed people to the boundaries, unaware of, in the heat of the moment, the real reasons why, and I would ask myself the same daunting questions many of us have asked. Why do I bother? What is this miserable life? There's no more for me. It's a reality. It's worth sharing. It's worth facing and exploring. Feeling this way doesn't make you a bad person. Society might say you're weak to act in such a way, to feel such things, and in these moments, hell, they might be right, but that doesn't make you any less of a human being. If you've been wondering and questioning and doubting yourself, allow me to tell you, it's okay. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to feel depressed and close to the edge. It's part of being a human. You're allowed to fail, and I might even prescribe that you do, if not just for a short while. During or after a crisis, the onslaught of negative, degrading, and self-hating thoughts can continue for a week, a couple of months, or anywhere between a few months to a year. In Janina's case, it lasted a few months, but she told me something very simple yet very profound. Something that we've all heard before, something we've all experienced, something completely cliché, but real. When you get thrown out of one door, there's always another one that will open. But Janina didn't wait for the next door to open. She took time to heal. She suffered through the uncertainty, but she never gave up her power to anyone else. She decided to kick open the next door and march through it, wielding new ideas and inspiration. Have you ever kicked down a door after being thrown out of one? As you're watching this video, I would assume you've been thinking about how to do it. Well, now's the time. Time to take the power back, to decide how things are going to go. You know it already. Nobody controls what you feel or what you do other than yourself. You control everything inside of yourself. You have all the strength and the ability of an entire army within you. So you messed up. Are you going to let that get in your way? Are you going to let others use it against you? How will you respond when they do? Because they will. Take joy in the fact that you are changing every single day. From one day to the next, the cells in your body change. You too can change, in spite of what others may think. I say that because it's a common assumption that people cannot change. Maybe change isn't the right word, because no matter what, the soul remains as it was at birth. Your spirit, your teenage enthusiasm will likely always reignite as you take a nostalgic journey into the past, listening to the old bands you loved or watching a 90s TV show. It's good to revisit the past now and again. It can act as a reminder. Where did you come from? What have you been through? How did you get to where you are today? And what transformations have you witnessed? But are you going to continually relive the traumas, the pain of defeat? Will you allow those erratic moments to haunt you and immobilize you, making it impossible to flourish as a new and improved person? Or are you going to use it to accelerate growth, to learn, to become humble and peaceful? Those are the options you have, and I don't need to hear your answer. I know what you are saying to yourself. I've experienced overwhelming defeat many times in my life. Staring at myself in the mirror, eyes flooded red with tears, mind flooded with intoxicating liquids. That's just a fancy way of saying pissed, smashed out of it, awake all night drinking beer for breakfast, show me to the nearest bridge, out of it. When I look at these moments, I understand that many of my failures were, in a way, self-induced. Unconscious recklessness led me down rabbit holes. But holes are sealable. Bottomless pits don't exist. Either you hit the bottom of the pit or you simply pass through the hole. As if passing through a meteor shower, you'll come out the other side with aches and pains, bruises, and maybe even some breakages. Either way, you'll overcome it. Broken bones heal. The heart and the mind are no different. You can transform and transcend your faults. If you hit the bottom, the only way is up, and if you pass through the other side, there's no way you're going back through the hole. You know it. How many times have you looked over your shoulder at the gaping abyss vanishing behind you and sighed, thinking to yourself, never again. I need to get away from this. I need to close this gaping wound that is chasing me down. I invite you to sit on the edge of the pit. Imagine your failures lying at the bottom. You've reached the top. You're elevated. It's too far to jump, but you can always take a rope and gently lower yourself when the time is right. These failures are accessible. It's not the idea to lock them away permanently, but rather to keep them at a safe distance. A distance at which you can objectively observe them and thus preserve your inner child. It's important to be at ease with failure, to accept failure as part of who you are. This is the first step on the ever-escalating ladder of healing. You need to be honest with yourself. You need to move in a more conscious direction and accept your failure, relish in it even, because this failure will lead to success. Your failure will become your strength. Share your failures with others, because the worst thing you can do is hide from them. In reality, concealment is a myth. They'll always be there, tapping a finger and shaking a head in the back of your mind. Instead, observe your failures with curiosity and love. Be kind to yourself and to them, and know that you're not alone. We all fail, whether it be small mistakes or huge catastrophes. No one is exempt. So the question is, how to overcome failure in life? Of course, there's no simple answer, but you must become friends with failure. Allow failure to soak into your character and guide you into your next adventure. For many years, I've attempted to outrun failure, sticking my fingers in my ears and closing my eyes as if deflecting the outside world and barricading myself would cause failure to disintegrate, making it easier to move on. How wrong I was. Run away, and you will be chased. Stop and turn, and the chaser too will stop. After a few months, Janina started to brainstorm. She went on to develop and shape a new system within the hotel industry, an app that would make everyone's life easier and more organized during a time of difficulty and disorganization. Guests could now come to the hotel without confusion or uncertainty, without having to use the old, and I quote, dirty room service phone, but rather would have everything outlined within an app. It seems so simple, and you're probably asking yourself, why didn't I think of that? Or wasn't that already a thing? When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. When life gives you lemonade, make lemons. Life will be all like, what? What you are seeking is already within you. The transformation may appear impossible, the crushing, unrestricted characteristics of the lemonade as opposed to the unperturbed, solid form of the lemon. One contains the other. They are not separated before the slice of a knife, and who wants to be sliced in this world? One might say life is about avoiding the slice. On the other hand, the lemon is of no use without the juice. Once it's been drained, it's over the shoulder and out the window with it. Okay, probably more likely into the bin with it, but you get what I'm saying. There's no reason to drain yourself of your failures. So what are you waiting for? Go make a lemon.